On the badge tonight, sitting down with two Lowcountry police chiefs, asking how crime rates in their respective cities has not only taken a toll on the neighborhoods, but on their officers and on their personal lives. It's a story you'll only see on ABC News 4.
They say to catch a criminal, you have to think like a criminal, but you also have to have connections.
The criminals don't have borders. They don't have city lines. So we in law enforcement, we have to think as they think. We've got to follow them wherever they go so we can get them off of our streets so we can keep our community safe.
But after evidence is collected and before arrests are made, there are still victims, emotions, and the nightmare crime scenes.
There is nothing like the sound of a wailing mother who has just lost a child to gun violence.
Etched in their minds and hearts.
Something that when you walk into a community and you see children watching across the crime tape, you hear the wailing family members.
But instead of pushing them away from the grind,
It's something that you'll never, ever, ever forget. And it's something that drives us.
to serve and protect, even more so now. From 2019 to 2020, Charleston's homicide numbers doubled. North Charleston's saw a small decrease, though not by much. But these men know there is a face and a name behind each number, and someone who loved them.
And I remembered we had a young man shot in the schoolyard at Burns Elementary on Dorchester Road. So I go there and I told this lady who I have known all my life that her grandchild was slain, and she said to me, not my grandchild. She said, he just left my table. I just served him a meal. When the coroner did the autopsy, exactly the same content, the food that grandmother told me was still warm in his stomach. He got killed less than 3 to 4 minutes when he left his grandmother's house.
It's painful. A lot of them are young people who are just beginning that path in their lives where I think they got the whole world in front of them.
Leaving family members torn apart.
We are actually going to these families' homes who actually suffer, victimization because of shootings. We're in their living rooms. We're praying with them.
And we have an obligation to make sure that nobody forgets, that we continue to honor those lives by making sure that we do better in our communities.
Better by walking the streets, talking with neighbors, and having more eyes watching.
We're going to do the best we can to make sure other grandparents and other mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers don't experience this.
It's just like a marriage. It takes work to have a good relationship. It takes work to have good outcomes.
Don't miss part 2 of the 3-part Beyond the Badge series. We continue our sit down with the chiefs, what their departments are doing to gain the trust of the community, and how you can help them keep your neighborhood safe.
Now,
The fear of the police is all too real in the Lowcountry and across the nation. And tonight, ABC News 4 is going beyond the badge as Chiefs Reggie Burgess and Luther Reynolds tell us how they are trying to shift this perception.
We're experiencing this violence. Our African American communities, diverse communities that actually need us the most and oftentimes have the least amount of trust for the police. And sometimes that's rooted in good reasons.
This Walter Scott shooting, 2015, I was the assistant chief of police there. A couple of days later on, the video came out. We saw what happened. Now our department was at ground zero.
but where do you begin when fear drives those feelings of distrust?
One of the really most basic things that I always say to myself, and we talk a lot about, is create no additional harm. Do not create harm.
Building a foundation of trust is necessary, but not always easy.
You cannot develop a relationship and get help that's going to get you through any kind of storms if you don't work on it before storms come.
And one of the biggest requests that I get is we want our officers out on foot. We want them out on bicycles. We want them, if they're going to be in their cars, make sure they have their windows rolled down. We actually want to have a relationship with our officers.
Police officers got to go in all different neighborhoods. So we need to be prepared to understand the cultures and the backgrounds of all communities.
Resistance comes from those who don't welcome the police.
All the folks who are the naysayers, who said we're not needed in there, tell me when the people stop calling us and asking us to come to the communities. Tell me why the people are calling us to come to the funerals. Tell me why the people are calling us to come to wakes. Tell me why the people asking us to have officers in the schools that their kids are going to. If that's the truth, then why is this world spinning the way it spins, and why police are in the communities every day? Because it's a small percentage that wants that. Why? Because they won't be up in those corners dealing. They want to break into people's houses. We're going to be out there for those folks. We put our life on the line every day for them. Every day, because the people expect us to.
That's the drive for most officers, but occasionally one will make a bad decision.
We're the only profession in the United States of America, the only profession that when one person does a heinous act in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that we all are condemned for it. I would never have done what they did in Minneapolis. I don't agree with it, and I'll never agree with it, but I'm held accountable by society simply because I wear the same uniform that they do.
The focus for these leaders is to build relationships.
I do know that a white chief speaking mainly to an African American community in uniform where there's already a high level of distrust. I've been smart enough to surround myself with people who grew up in this community, who've been here a long time.
Chief Reynolds brings community activists to his briefings.
I think something that people have demanded from us is accountability, transparency. I'm not hearing from our communities they want us to be perfect. People don't really care what you know, it's that they know that you care.
Chief Burgess walks for justice.
Because as long as we keep fellowshipping, as long as we keep any kind of ship we can ride on, anyone in partnership, we ride on that to work with our community. And that counts.
I think it's important that the people in our city, county, in this area, know that there's leaders talking to each other, sharing with each other, that have the interests of our communities at heart.
And coming up next week in the final installment of the Beyond the Badge series, our top cops discuss working with each other to get through so much in the 3 years they've been chief. Tonight, in our last installment of Beyond the Badge, North Charleston Chief Reggie Burgess and Charleston Chief Luther Reynolds tell us why their bond helps keep their city safe.
We're brothers, and some folks say we're brothers from the other mother, but hey, I guess that's what it is. But that's my guy right there.
Not related by blood, but connected by a mutual respect.
There's a proverb that says, iron sharpens iron as one man sharpens another.
A bond formed over the last 3 years that goes beyond the uniform. Both men chiefs of their respective cities, with an understanding that either are just a phone call away.
Yeah, I wanted him to understand that he has a friend in me. I've experienced this for 3 years as a chief of police, and he's been in law enforcement longer than I have, but this is a different territory for him. So I wanted him to understand that you don't have to worry about who's got your back. I came here to let him know I had his back.
There's a few people on my short list of people that are on a speed dial who all call, and I've called Reggie at some of my lowest moments here, and Reggie's one of my biggest encouragers, and he's also a man who's got some insights that are of great value to me to make me more effective, to make me a better leader.
Insights that both leaders rely on as they try to navigate the inner workings of their communities and guide their fellow brothers in blue to keep their neighboring cities safe.
Our jurisdictions are not just, they don't stop at the line. These issues are all overlapping. And so I rely heavily on Reggie.
Not only does he and I get along real well, our troops get along real well because they see us interact. And when he calls me his brother, I call him my brother.
Brothers called separately to protect and serve, but together for one common goal.
He and I know that the only way that North Charleston is going to get better, the only way that City of Charleston is going to get better with the crime is that we have to work together. And day one he came here, that's what he said to me. He had never met me before. And I believe his word to this day. And because of him and because of me, we are actually changing the whole dynamics of our departments, because now our departments feel like we are truly brothers in blue.
On ABC News.
When I pray, I ask for the eyes and the ears and the wisdom and the ability to see things in a way that I can actually see the needs that people have, the pain that people are going through, that I can make a difference.
That was Charleston Police Chief Luther Reynolds today, speaking on how he wants to use his cancer diagnosis to help others. And our Eli Brand was there today as the chief had his head shaved because of the disease. And he sat down with Chief Reynolds and talked about how this diagnosis has changed his outlook on life. Eli joins us now with the studio with more. Eli?
Well, Tessa, here are the images of Charleston's top cop getting that shaving done. He said he did it in public to show people they can keep on fighting, and he's not tapping out. Now, after this cut, Chief Reynolds and I sat down with one of his closest friends, North Charleston Police Chief Reggie Burgess, to talk about the outlook that this diagnosis has given both of them.
What are we going to do with it today?
We're going to get the whole thing, man. We'll do the whole shooting match.
A buzz and a shave
That's funny.
for a fighter looking to help others stay in the ring.
But in terms of what I could share with other people, it would be, don't ever give up. No matter where you're at on your journey, no matter where you're at in the season of life. And I can tell you, facing my own mortality, hearing some of the news that I've had to listen to, it makes you think about what you're doing with your life. What's the impact? What's the legacy?
Charleston Police Chief Luther Reynolds had his head shaved Monday in wake of his cancer diagnosis, but for him, this isn't a curse. It's an opportunity that has made him see more clearly.
I believe that this challenge that I'm having right now, some good's going to happen from that. And if we save one life, it's worth it for me. One. I can't change everything in the world. I can't make everybody happy. I can't change the amazing, significant, painful history that we have to live with race and so many other things. But somehow I can enter into that. We can enter into that conversation. We can be present, and we can help people.
And Reynolds' presence is already affecting others and his best friend and closest ally, North Charleston Police Chief Reggie Burgess.
Every time, Mr. Thad would cut, I said, I'm thinking about my hair. I said, man, I'm thinking about it, but I'm looking at him and I'm saying to myself, he's not even thinking about the physical part of the hair. He's thinking about it's something that needs to be done.
Burgess says seeing someone he calls his brother go through this is hard, but it's also something he believes removes all excuses.
This is a different city, but I can't sit back and make an excuse to say I'm not going to do what I need to do, because Luther Reynolds, he would do differently.
And it's that name, Luther Reynolds, that has taken on a new meaning for Burgess because of how he has reacted to this challenge. It's no longer just brother, it's motivation.
I sit back and I think about Luther Reynolds. I said, this guy is going through worse than I ever went through. And he keeps his eyes, and his head to the sky. So yeah, I'm emotional right now, but I am so blessed that I'm with him right now.
For Reynolds himself, it's not about him or his name. It never has been. It's about his officers, his family, and his community. And the example he says he has the opportunity to set.
How can I use my gifts, my skills, my time, my possessions, my resources, and I have a lot in my position. How can I use those to leave things better than how I found them? And that's a great opportunity. It's a great place for me to be in life, that I can make a difference.
Reporting, I'm Eli Brand.